Joel Embiid, Nikola Jokic, they go at it again today, y'all. So we'll talk about that and who is going to win this matchup.
You are Locked On 76ers, your daily Philadelphia 76ers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for making Locked On 76ers your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcast and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. As the playoffs wind down, the sports stop sporting like we want them to. But this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone. Every day, all summer long. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Hi, I'm Keith Pompey, and this is my right-hand man, John Mitchell, and we are the co-hosts of Locked On 76ers. We got a lot to talk about today. I don't think I did our tease justice. So yeah, of course, we're going to talk about the head-to-head backup between the NBA's two best centers in Joel Embiid of the Sixers and Nikola Jokic of the Denver Nuggets, who are playing each other in the Olympics. Embiid on Team USA, Jokic with Serbia. So we're talking about those two teams. But the deal is, what about Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey? Who do you believe is going to end their careers with the most 50-point games? And then secondly, on the third segment, we're going to break down Caleb Martin. The more that you think about him, he is the perfect fit, not just for the Sixers, but the blue-collar city of Philadelphia. So we'll talk about all three of those things. But Mitch, what do you think is going to happen today? Now, I think Team USA is going to beat Serbia.
Yeah.
We'll both agree with that.
Right.
What do you see happening between the much-anticipated matchup between the league's two best players and Joel Embiid, talking about the NBA, Joel Embiid and Nikola Jokic?
Well, Keith, at first I felt that the 76ers, that the Olympic team was going to make a concerted effort to get Joel the ball early on and get him started. And I'm still not certain that they won't do that. But when you look at it, there's so many guys on this roster who have won. They're playing with a winning coach. And I don't think they're going to elevate any of the personal stuff above the team stuff, So I think that their effort is going to be, they're going to want to get Joel started because they're just a better team when Joel is going. And particularly he got going very early in the win over Brazil. But I think that, that team has been getting better game after game, and we're seeing it now. And I think that I think Joel's going to get his. I think he's going to do what he's supposed to. But let's be quite honest. The Olympic team doesn't need Joel to go off. The Olympic team doesn't need Joel to go off. Serbia could use a 50-point game out of the Joker right now. I mean, it's just that's the disparity in talent. USA just has so much more. So I think if Joker puts up bigger numbers, I wouldn't be surprised. But I do think that I think Joel will play well because I just think that team is starting to come together. But again, they don't need him to put up the huge numbers that Serbia needs from the Joker. It's just the way it is, man.
It's the way it is, and I agree with you with that one. But something is telling me that for Joel, it will be important, and to do it in the context of the game. Like,
right.
don't try to, in the context of, like, in the flow of the game, don't try to force anything. But I think that if Joel dominates the Joker, and if he gets off and does that's one thing, is like we talked about yesterday. This is an opportunity for him to erase all the bad performances that he had. You know, if I'm Joel, I want to be, and again, do it in the flow of the game. Right. But at the same time, I feel like personally, you know, it's been a struggle for the most part for him in this Olympics. Now, again, Brazil, he dominated. Puerto Rico, he dominated. But come on, bro. Like, yeah. You know what I mean? This Brazil and Puerto Rico, no offense to Brazil and Puerto Rico, but they just don't have anybody who can match up against them. Yeah. You know, Joel Embiid is going to be judged against, what do you do against the Joker? What did you do against Wemby, right? You know, things like that. So I feel like for him, he needs to come out from a personal standpoint and have a dominant performance. And secondly, I feel like when you look at, you said something. Joel Embiid does not have to have a great game for USA to win. Right. They got LeBron, they got other things. But if Joel Embiid can dominate the Joker, it's game over. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, it's game over. So, like, it's a wrap now. Like, you know, one of those things, because let's face it, what they're going to try to do is they're going to keep trying to feed the Joker, keep trying to get him involved, get him in some action, see if he can get that spin like he did against Embiid the last time and win. But to me, again, by the time some people see this podcast, unfortunately, the game may be over. But I'm going out on a limb thinking that Joel is going to have, now again, he may not have more points, he may not do other things, but I think that we're not going to see Joel having one of those poor shooting performances. I feel like he's going to be efficient and all this. The Joker may have more points because they need him to have more points, but I feel like, you know, Joel he knows the whispers and what people are saying, to whereas I think that he's going to have a more efficient game and he's going to be more impactful than he was the other two times they played Serbia.
Yeah, Keith. And I mean, if you just look at, it's interesting because if you look at the games they play head to head in the NBA, they've met 8 times, and Embiid has averaged 27.6 points, 11.3 rebounds, and 4.4 assists in the 8 games he's faced the Joker. The Joker, conversely, has averaged 22.3 points, 10.1 boards, and 6.9 assists in those 8 games. So Joel has outplayed him in the head-to-head meetings. You know, there's just no question about that. But, you know, one guy has 3 MVPs and a championship, and the other guy is still trying to get past the second round. So Joel has every reason to be extremely motivated in this game to outperform the Joker. So, you know, it's interesting, and that's the battle inside the battle. That's what people will be looking at. But I do think the Joel just has just such a better complement of players around him, and that, you know, that seems to be just, you know, that's the overriding issue right now, to who has a better complement of players. And we can touch on this maybe a little bit more when we get back after the break. But right now, I want to talk to folks about FanDuel. I love my sports, and I know you do, Keith. And I love them so much that I never, ever want them to stop. But things, even with the Olympics being great, things in the team sport area, they've kind of wound down a little bit. But FanDuel lets me keep the sports going whenever I want. All I have to do is open the app and dream up bets anytime I'm in the mood. And this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone, every day, all summer long. So head over to FanDuel.com and start making the most out of your summer. It's FanDuel, official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. We want to take this time to thank you for making Locked On 76ers your first listen of the day. For your second listen, I want you to enjoy the Locked On NBA podcast. There is no offseason in the NBA, and Locked On NBA provides daily basketball analysis from national and local experts in 30 minutes or less. No one keeps you as informed and entertained as Locked On NBA. Available on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every single solitary day.
Do it today, people. Definitely do it today. So here's the deal, man. We got a lot to talk about. Here's a debate. So when we look at Joel Embiid, right? We say Joel Embiid is a 50-point machine. He had 8 games with 50-point performances. Tyrese Maxey had 3, right? Joel Embiid, like we said, is probably one of the best 2 players in the league right now, right? In the NBA. So we asked the question, and it's a great question, on who do we believe will have more 50-point performances by the end of their career? Will it be Joel Embiid or will it be Tyrese Maxey? And I kind of think it's going to be Maxey. And the reason why I'm saying that is you look at Joel Embiid. You know, Joel Embiid is, getting older now, right?
Yeah.
And, Joel Embiid, let's face it, he has injury history. Right now he's he's 30 years old. He's I want to say, you can say the prime of his career, but you don't know how much longer he's going to play at a high level, right? So you think about it, and we talk about it, is, Joel Embiid missed his first 2 seasons. He was drafted in 2014. He missed the 2014-15 season, 2015-16 season. So it took him in 2021 to get it, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4. He got it when he was 4 seasons in. Actually, 4 seasons in when he got his first 50-point performance, right? Whereas you look at Tyrese Maxey, on the other hand, Tyrese Maxey is a young guy, a young guard. Right. He took and elevated his game, took it to another level last year, but he had 3 in 1 season. And it was his 4th season as well. But at the same time, you look at him and you say to yourself, talking about Embiid got his first one in his 4th playing season, the same with Maxey. But Maxey is 7 years younger.
Right.
I think that over time, Maxey is in pretty good shape. He has several years left, more than Embiid to play. I just feel like over time that he's going to be able to get that. Now it's going to be tough. You can figure, because you have Paul George, who's going to be there at least the next 4 years, taking away some of the shots. But I look at that team, and they're going to be the older statesmen, George and Embiid, and Maxey's going to be the young star. He's going to be become the face of the team. He's going to be Magic Johnson, while Embiid's going to be Kareem, and Paul George is going to be James Worthy. Right? Right? I mean, you know what I'm saying now, but it's going to be a different type. So when you look at that, you have to say in a couple of years, Maxey is going to be the guy that they're going to depend on. So with that being said, I feel like Maxey is going to end up with more 50-point games than Embiid.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. If you look at the one huge advantage that Max is going to have is or the one plus will be for him, and that will be his availability. I mean, even in the upcoming season and the next seasons to come in there early in this union, he's just going to have more opportunities to get it, and they're going to be those nice, when Joel is out of the lineup, we hope that those numbers become less and less frequent as they move forward. But Max is going to have those opportunities that if Joel's out for like 20, 25 game stretches, they're going to need Maxey. And it's better because now they do have Paul George. Paul George will take a lot of that load from him. And who knows, maybe Paul George will get a 50 for the 76ers. So the bottom line is that Maxey will have more opportunities. But, okay, so Joel has the franchise leader is Will Chamberlain with 11. Allen Iverson has 10. Joel's at 8. Maxey's at 3. I think that Joel's going to put up a few more this season. I really do. And I wouldn't be surprised if Maxey gets 2 more. But, the one benefit, the one advantage that Maxey will have is time. Time is going to be on his side. And it will be in because 50-point games will be needed less or should be needed less with a guy like Paul George in the mix. And again, maybe Paul George will get hot, excuse me, and maybe he'll be one of those guys maybe he'll get a 50-point game. I don't know how many he's got in his career. I don't know if he has any in his career. But if Joel stays healthy, he can match Wilt. He could match Wilt this season. He's only 3 behind Wilt. And you figure at 30, he'll turn 31 during the season. I might, they come easier these days. They come easier, and even if you were the early stage of Joel's career when he wasn't playing, it was harder to score 50. But I think since 2020 moving forward, it's become a lot easier to score 50. You see more guys doing it. So I'm a ride with Joel, man. I think Joel, I think he's going to have a few of them in him this year. And I wouldn't be surprised at all if he were the franchise leader or tied for the franchise lead if he stays healthy by the end of this 24-25 season. I could see that.
Yeah, the crazy part is I want to agree with you. I want to. But at the same time, I just feel like you said something. They're coming easier now, right? And I honestly feel like there's going to be certain games where Joel doesn't play because of that, and they're going to just ride Maxey, right?
Yeah.
And then I also feel like if they're coming easier now, and with the rules are being so much different, easier for the offensive players, what is it going to be like several years from now? And so those are my things. Now, again, Joel's a dominant force, but I'm just looking at Maxey. He had 3 in 1 year, and I just feel like down the road, again, Joel, a great player, all-time great, but I just feel like the way stuff is set up for, Maxey in a couple of years, he's going to be the guy. He's going to be the guy.
Right. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting topic, man. It will unfold right before our eyes, that's for sure. But listen, right now, I want to talk to people about BetterHelp. So listen, what are your self-care non-negotiables? Maybe you never skip a leg day, or how about a therapy day? When your schedule is packed with kids, activities, big work projects, and more, it's easy to let your priorities slip. Even when we know what makes us happy, it's hard to make time for it. But when you feel like you have no time for yourself, non-negotiables like therapy are more important than ever. So if you're thinking of starting therapy, why not give BetterHelp a try? It's entirely online. It's designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist, and you can switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. So never skip therapy day with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/LockedOnNBA today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/LockedOnNBA.
Do it today, people. Definitely do it today.
Definitely.
But here's the deal, Mitch. So, I've been, doing a little bit of research and about Caleb Martin.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny because I kind of like the brother swag. Like I saw him with the bucket hat on. He had the big beard, so this and that. Like I'm like, yo, this brother look like he from Philly, you know what I mean? Like he got a little swag. He had the swag going on when he was in Vegas, this and that. So somebody asked him about Philadelphia. And do you feel like you fit in? He's like, yeah, blue collar city, this and that. So the more you look at it, you're like, yo, bro, what you know about Philly? Like, I know, Professor Paul Mitchell at the University of Nevada, cool friends, this and that, Philly dude from West Philly. Matter of fact, his people know your people. So the Mitchells. The deal is here, but here's the thing. So you look at this guy in Philly, we pride ourselves on being hard-nosed, blue-collar, grimy, gritty type of guys, nothing to hand it to us. We just do our thing.
Even if you're from Villanova, you claim that.
Yeah, even if you're wrong. Exactly. So anyway, here's a guy who grew up in Winston-Salem. He to school like 40 miles away or 25 miles away, down I-40, and then he transfers to Oak Hill, and then him and his twin brother get a scholarship to NC State, and then all of a sudden they go to the University of Nevada. Well, his brother was drafted in the second round, but he wasn't drafted at all. Mm-hmm. So he signs an Exhibit 10 deal, which basically is saying you got a training camp deal. And after we waive you, because typically that's what they do, they waive them. If you decide to play for our G League team, you will get a bonus. That's all he had with the Hornets. So he accepts that. Well, he's playing so well that they give him on October the 19th, 2019, they basically gave him a two-way deal. Hours later, they converted that two-way deal until a multi-year contract.
Wow.
So, yeah, you know what I'm saying? So he gets that. And then all of a sudden, the Hornets waive him. The Hornets waived him. So he goes to the Miami Heat. Now, mind you, the dude been playing in the league for a couple years, right? At the time, they said he couldn't shoot, though, right? But he's playing in the league for a couple years. He goes to Miami. Miami says, all we have is a two-way deal for you. Mm-hmm. So it's like, he's probably like, man, you know what? I thought I'm above this. I've been in the league for a couple years, but this is all I have. He takes the two-way deal, and then in February of that season, they converted it to a standard contract for the rest of the year.
Man.
He gets another deal. So when we look at guys, we talk about from Paul Reed would always say from the mud and out of the mud, this and that, yada, yada. This is a guy that is self-made.
Yeah.
Who worked hard.
Yeah.
Who overcame a lot of obstacles. And now the crazy part is, his brother's a good player, but now everybody referring to him as the better one. Like he's the best one. This is the modern day Boston Strangler. You know what I mean? The guy that the Sixers that everybody has high expectations for. So to me, he's just not the perfect fit for the Sixers. I think he's a perfect fit for the city of Philadelphia.
Yeah, and when you look at it, man, I mean, it's kind of like the rough side of the mountain story with him. He signs a 4-year deal for $35 million, and then you find out that he left like $32 million on the table because he bet on himself. So he's a guy who's always, he's faced adversity, and I think he wants more, and I think he's hungry. When you look at his career, from the two-way deal to the multi-year contract, then getting waived, he's gone from the outhouse to the penthouse and back to the outhouse. And with a $35 million deal, you're saying, well, he's still doing very well for himself, extraordinarily well by regular people's standards, but by NBA standards, it's like, yeah, there's some, he could be making a lot more money. So I think, and you do mention the way he played against Boston. He does all the dirty work. He can score when he's asked to score, and I think he's going to endear himself to Philadelphia. He's undersized. He's got that whole Rocky story. You know what I mean? He's got that whole Rocky thing going. So I think, So I think, and he's clearly still hungry. He's clearly still. I mean, who wouldn't be? If you left $30+ million on the table, you're going to be hungry.
Yeah, he's hungry. But you know what? I hate to say it, like that sounds crazy, right? But when you look at all the things he's overcame, the brother's already winning.
Yeah,
like you know what I mean? Like, yo, like dude, you went undrafted. All you had was an Exhibit 10 deal, and then like you know what I mean. Then you got this. Like I don't know. It seems like he's already winning. Like and I'll be honest with you, the money that he's making, 32.
It's not a bad deal, right?
Just give me 2. We good.
Right. You need 2. I'll take 1. Be good.
I'm done. Like we're out. We're not. It's over with. We're no longer. Hey, we don't need to do this podcast no more.
Rat race goodbye.
I know, right? But nah, just joking. But you know what I'm saying though. Like so, I feel like he's doing well, but I really like what he does. And let's face it, sometimes you make mistakes in life. But from this is what I heard. I heard that, like I was talking to a couple of people in Miami, and they said this is how it went down. They came to him during the season, before stuff got really happening, and was like, look, this is what we're gonna offer you. And they said, but you never know what's behind door number 2, right? But also it happened so early that like common sense would be like, well, I'm gonna get more money in free agency. So it wasn't like they came to him at the end of the season like, hey, we're gonna give you this extension, after knowing what the market was. No, they came to him early, early in the season, maybe even before the season started, and said, this is what we want to do. And that's when it came down. So he bet on himself. They never came back to him, one of those type things. And that's just how it is. So it is what it is. But look, we want to thank y'all for listening. But before we go, right, I want to talk to y'all about, first of all, I want to thank y'all for listening to Locked On 76ers today. But I want to talk to y'all about the Locked On NBA podcast, where the season never ends, providing national expertise with a local perspective. You can find the link to Locked On NBA in the description, so you don't need to search. Part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. So for my man Mitch, this is Chief. I want to say peace, have a blessed day, and we'll chat with you guys tomorrow. Deuces.
Peace, y'all.